Good morning, children. Sairam. I welcome you all to the online class of economics. Children, today I'm going to start the second chapter of our book, and the name of our chapter is Central Problems of an Economy. Children, the topic what we are covering up today is what is an economic problem? I mean, what causes the economic problem? Thereafter, we will learn the central problems of an economy, that is what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Later on we will learn the solution of central problems in different economy, production possibility curve, that is PPC, and central problems. I mean how there is a shifting and rotation of PPC, and what are the basic properties of PPC. And finally we will learn the concept of opportunity cost. I mean what is marginal opportunity cost. Now let us start with our first topic, which is what is an economic problem. Children, before we will learn the economic problem, let us learn first the meaning of an economy. Children, as I have already explained you in the previous video, an economy is a system which provides people the means to work and earn a living. The word economy is widely used concept in economics, children. It refers to the nature and level of economic activities in an area. Economic activities refers to the production, consumption, and investment in a concerned area. Now, the vital functions of an economy, children. First one is production, consumption, and capital formation. I mean investment. These are the vital functions of an economy. Children, now again one question arises: why do we learn economics? Why do we study economics? Now, children, the main reason for study of economics can be simplified to a single word: scarcity. Scarcity refers to the situation when wants exceeds with the available resources. Scarcity refers to the limitation of supply in relation to demand of the commodity. Children, scarcity is universal, that is, every individual, organization, and economy faces scarcity of resources. Children, scarcity, as I just said, refers to the limitations of supply in relation to demand for a commodity. Economics is concerned with the selection of resources under condition of scarcity. For example, as we all know, petrol is scarce in relation to its demand. But there is one more problem in addition to its scarcity. It is used not only in vehicles, but it is used in machineries. It is used in running machineries, railway engines, airplanes, generators, etc. So, whenever a commodity is chosen for one use, other valuable use will have to be rejected. So, children, it gives rise to the problem of choice. Now, let us learn the economic problem. Children, as you all know, human wants are very unlimited, but the means to satisfy them are limited. Therefore, all our wants cannot be fulfilled at one time. In order to maximize satisfactions, every consumer exercises choice as to which goods or services should be consumed and in what quantity. As economic problems is basically a problem of choice. So economic problem, as I just said, is a problem of choice involving satisfactions of of unlimited wants out of limited resources having alternative uses. So, children, economic problem is a problem of choice involving satisfactions of unlimited wants out of limited resources having alternative uses. Now, children, what are the reasons behind of economic problem? The first one is scarcity of resources. Children, resources are limited in relation to their demand, and economy cannot produce all what people want. Children, resources, what are the resources? First of all, resources are land, labor, capital, entrepreneur are the resources. And children, resources are limited in relation to their demand, and economy cannot produce everything, anything or everything what they want, what the people wants. So it is the basic reasons for the existence of economic problem in all the economics. Scarcity is universal and applies to all the individuals, organizations, and countries. There would have been no problem if resources were not scarce. So, children, the study of economics can be verify if there is not the economic problem there. If there is no economic problem, there is no economics. So, uh, uh, this was the scarcity of resources. If the resources are scarce in relation to their demand, then economy cannot produce anything or everything what the people actually wants. So that is called the scarcity of resources. Now, second reasons for economic problem is unlimited human wants. Children, human wants are never ending. That is, they can never be fully satisfied. As long as one want is satisfied, another new wants emerges. Wants of the people are satisfied. Wants of the peoples are unlimited and keep on multiplying and cannot be satisfied due to the limited resources. And human wants also differ in priorities. That is, all wants are not of equal intensive. For every individual, some wants are more important and urgent as compared to others. So, due to these reasons, people allocate the resources in order of preferences to satisfy some of their wants. So, children, if all human wants had been of equal importance, then it would have been become impossible to make choices, isn't it, children? Or you just see, if we are obviously giving equal importance to all our wants, then it would have become impossible to make choices, isn't it? If our all wants are of equal importance, then we cannot make a choice of which wants are very important as compared to other wants. So that is why it is called as the reasons of economic problem as unlimited human wants. I mean, the wants of humans cannot be satisfied at a one time. If the one wants of the humans are satisfied, then the new wants get emerges. Now, third is alternative uses. This is the third reasons for economic problem. Now, what is alternative uses? Children, resources are not only scarce, but they can also be put to various uses. It makes choices among resources more important. So, children, resources are, as I just said, not only scarce, but they can also be put to various uses. It makes choices among resources more important. For example, children, petrol is used not only in vehicles but also for running machineries, generators, etc. As a result, economy has to make choices between the alternative uses of the given resources. Now, children, this was the reasons why there is an economic problem arises. Now, with this explanation, what we would understand that economics is a social science which studies the way a society chooses to use its limited resources, which have alternative uses to produce goods and services, and to distribute them among different groups of people. So, children, before we proceed further, let us learn first the allocation of resources. Now, what is the allocation of resources, children? Allocation of resources refers to the problem of assigning the scarce resources in such a manner so that the maximum wants of the society are fulfilled. Children, as you all know that as resources are very limited in relation to the unlimited human wants, therefore it is very important to economize their uses and utility. It is very important to economize their use and utility and utilize them in such a manner, in the most efficient manner. So, children, the problem of allocation of resources is studied under three heads. The first one is what to produce. First one is what to produce. Second is how to produce, and third is for whom to produce. Now, let us learn the first central problem of an economy, which is what to produce. Children, this problem involves selections of goods and services to be produced and the quantity to be produced of each selected commodity. Children, as you all know, every economy has limited resources and thus cannot produce all the goods at the same time. More of one goods or services usually means less of others. Producers have limited resources and they cannot produce anything or everything they wish to. It is for them to decide how their resources are rationally managed. So, in a free enterprise economy, rational management implies this maximization of profit. So, children, for example, the production of more sugar is possible only by reducing the production of other goods. Production of more war goods is possible only by reducing the production of civil goods. Therefore, uh, such the basis of the importance of various goods in an economy has to decide which goods should be produced and in what quantities. This is a problem of allocation of resources among different goods. Now, children, the problem of what to produce has the two dimensions. The first one is the kinds of goods to be produced, and the second is quantity of goods to be produced. Children, goods are classified as consumer goods and capital goods. So when I have explaining you the national income, I have already explained you in the final goods and intermediate goods concept. I mean, what is the consumer goods, what is the capital goods. This I have already explained you very briefly. Now, children, let me again explain you. The goods are basically classified as the consumer goods and capital goods. Consumer goods are those goods which are needed for the present consumption, like sugar, bread, butter, and capital goods are those goods which are needed for further production and future growth. Hence, the problem called problem of choice, allocation of scarce resources to different uses. Children, um, the first thing is we have to decide that what possible commodities we have to produce. Children, an economy has to decide first which consumer goods like rice, wheat, clothes, etc., and which of the capital goods like machineries, equipments, etc., are to be produced. So, in the same way, economy has to make a choice between the civil goods like bread, butter, etc., and war goods like guns, tanks, airplanes, etc. Now, second dimension in what's to produce is the quantity of goods to be produced. Children, the quantity of goods to be produced, quantity of goods implies is how much of different goods is to be produced with the given resources. Greater production of good X always implies lesser productions of good Y. Therefore, producers has to strike a balance between the production of good X and the production of good Y, so that uh, there should be the maximum, so that the gains can be maximized. Now, how much to produce is again, children, a big problem. After deciding the goods to be produced, economy has to decide that which quantity of each commodity has to be produced. Oh, it means it involves decisions related to the quantity to be produced of consumer goods and capital goods, civil goods, and war goods, etc. Now move on to the next central problem of economy, that is how to produce. Children, this problem refers to the selection of techniques to be used for the production of various goods and services. Generally, techniques are classified as labor intensive technique and capital intensive technique. So dear children, how to produce is the second component of allocation of resources. How to produce means how to organize the production. It relates to the choice of techniques of production, and mainly there are two types of techniques. The first one is labor intensive technique, which we call it LIT in short, and second is capital intensive technique, which we call in short CIT. So children, under labor intensive technique, production depends upon more on the use of labor, whereas in capital intensive technique, the production depends upon productions depends more on the use of machineries or capital. So children, if labor intensive technology, LIT is adopted, then it reduces the unemployment problems in an economy, whereas if capital intensive technology is adopted, then it increase the that in it increase the production and leads to greater GDP growth. So children, LIT promotes employment, whereas capital intensive technology promotes efficiency. So if LIT is adopted, then it solves the problem of unemployment, whereas it affects the efficiency, but the efficiency would suffer, and low efficiency would be implies low GDP growth. And if capital intensive technology is adopted, then it increase the production and increases the GDP growth, but it definitely increases the problem of unemployment in an economy. And if the unemployment it increases, then there must be the crime increases. So children, the selection of technique is made with a view to achieve the objective of raising the standard of living of the people and to provide employment to everyone. For example, children, in India, labor intensive technology is preferred due to abundance of labor, whereas countries like USA or UK, capital intensive technology is used due to shortage of labor and abundance of capital. So that is why it is called a selection of techniques of that is why it remains a problem of choice of technique of production. Now, this is the third central problem of an economy: for whom to produce. So, children, this problem refers to the selection of category of people who will ultimately consume the goods. That is, whether to produce goods for more poor and, and less rich, or more rich and less poor. Children, for whom to produce is the third component of allocation of resources. In a free enterprise economy, the decisions relate to different set of buyers in an economy. Broadly, there are two sections of the society. The first one is richer sections, and the second is the poor sections of the society. Children, if this is a normal tendency that producers will would obviously incline to produce more for the richer sections and less for the poor sections, because The paying capacity is because the paying capacity of richer is more than the paying capacity of the poor. By producing goods for the poor sections, the profit of the producers will remain low, and low profit would means low investment implies is low GDP growth. So therefore, to overcome this problem, the government offers a variety of subsidies and tax breaks for the production of various goods and services for the poor sections of the society, so that social justice remains a priority even in those economics where there is minimum interference in the where there is a minimum interference of the government. So there is again a problem of choice, that is social justice or GDP growth. So children, so far we have studied first the meaning of economy, thereafter the vital functions of economy, the definitions of economics, the economic problem, and the various reasons for economic problem, and the central problem of an economy. Children, there are three central problems of economy. The first one is what to produce, second is how to produce, and the third is for whom to produce. As we have cover up them in very briefly. So children, that's all for today, and in the next video we guys will learn the concept of production possibility curve. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Sai Ram.